Welcome back to Wembley Stadium for our latest episode of Box 2 in partnership with Best Western Hotels GB, supporting local, proudly independent hotels. Welcome back to Box 2 in partnership with Best Western Hotels GB. I'm Jamie Jones-Buchanan and this is Leeds Rhinos Women's team member Sophie Robinson. Sophie, great to have you on at last. Been trying for a number of weeks now. Let's brush past this week's results. What a great weekend for either team. Was it Challenge Cup jitters? Huddersfield come along there, got their first win of the season against our women's side. Lois Forsell fairly frustrated. What would you put it down to?
Yeah, I think it's a disappointing result. We had a squad out there who could have got the win. I just don't think we performed on the day. It's not acceptable for us to play like that, especially at Headingley. And yeah, Lois weren't happy, but as a team, we're just not happy, especially going into Wembley. We wanted to go in with a win, but yeah, we've got things to work on that we can see and improve now. But yeah, just disappointing. We should have got the win yesterday.
Lots of young women coming through the system as well, though. I've always been impressed with Lois and what she delivers to the community, the opportunities that she gives out for young girls, for young women to go out and play on some of the best of stages. You're going to go to Wembley this weekend, and it very much fits into the sort of the remit, the overarching remit that Rowan, as head coach of the club as well, tries to impress upon all our coaches, all our players, this developmental attitude. It's good to see some of those young girls coming through, isn't it?
Yeah, we had 4 under-19s in the squad yesterday, so it's good for them to see if they progress within the academy, they get the chance to run out ahead. So no, that was good that they got the opportunity and they played really well. So no, it's good. The academy is excellent and Lois is doing a great job bringing them girls up. That's what we need for the sport to grow, really. We need the young girls coming into the first team squad.
Absolutely. And what's the mentality like? We'll touch on it in a short while, but having had that result, how was the confidence after the game? Because I've gone into Wembley finals on the back of wins, on the back of losses, and neither really gives you a good insight into what the final's going to be like. But what were the girls like after the game?
Yeah, really disappointed. A lot of girls they just weren't happy with the performance, but I've just spoke to Lois and she said it's time to like reset. It's a fresh week and we just need to go in with a positive mindset to training, and it's a different game on Saturday and we know what we've got to do, to get that win. So yeah, sort of just brush that off now. It's happened. We'll learn on it and improve coming into the final on Saturday.
Absolutely. I'm always talking about adversity. The refiner's fire, the cauldron for me, is the place where I learn the biggest lessons. That's why I'm happy to be out of my comfort zone. It's the only time I ever grow. Let's talk about your career then and your development in rugby league, because we're both from sort of West Leeds, both played at St Helens as well. Yes! Heads on fire. Which, and for me, it was lovely. And I remember you being a youngster. I think we've got some photographs of me and you at a camp one time. And I look back at that photograph, and the guy on the left, on the right there, is unrecognisable to me. I feel like a completely different person. But just tell us a little bit about how you got into rugby league and what are some of your earliest memories.
Yeah, so I got into rugby in high school. I started playing for a team, and then I went over to Farnley Falcons, so they established like the first girls team. Right. So I started playing there, and then moved on to Stanley, where when I'm a bit older. So I played there for a number of years. I had a really good team at Stanley, really good setup up there. And then I seen they were advertising a Leeds team, and I was like, oh, I need to like go to the trials. So I went to the trials and luckily got in for the first team. So yeah, that were probably a big moment in my career to actually play for the team I've grown up. Like you said, I used to go to all the sports camps, but I didn't play rugby then, so I used to just go to like the dance camps and do like the activity camps. Yep. So I just used to go to all of them and get involved, and then yeah, finally got to play for Leeds Rhinos, which was really big moment for me. Just growing up supporting this club, it's just great to actually put on the shirt. It's
great to hear that you was active as well physically. I think all the studies now suggest that being multifaceted is the best way to become a great athlete, rather than specialisation. Was that a big part of your upbringing, physical well-being and lots of different sports?
Yeah, definitely. I used to do athletics when I was younger, like that was my sport. I used to do long jump, but used to get involved in any sport really. My granddad used to take me to all like the sports teams, so that was good to be involved in different things. And like you said, I probably wouldn't have got into rugby without trying other sports before.
Yep.
Builds up your confidence, gets you meeting new people, which were really good, yeah. And I've probably brought, especially from athletics, the skills from athletics to rugby league.
Connection over content. Don't worry too much about what you're doing. Just get active. Go and meet new people. That's the best part about it. And you was, I think, spiritually involved with the Leeds Rhinos because your granddad used to bring you to games, so you've always loved the Rhinos, the brand, been around this stadium and that theatre, the big green rectangle out there where so many sporting heroes have played. Tell me about coming to Edinburgh with your granddad.
Yeah, so I used to come all the time when I was younger. I think I got my first season ticket because I did like a foundation camp through school. Right. So I started coming then and used to go to all like the finals, Wembley, grand finals. Then I got like my friends in it, they got season tickets, so I wanted someone to come with. So yeah, I've always like grown up supporting Rhinos. It's such an amazing club. Like you just feel part of like a family when you're here, especially like on the stands. So yeah, I always loved this club. For me, it's like the greatest club in the world for me.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
And it is the facility, the resource. It's bubbling under the surface. And I walk away from Edinburgh even now, 27 years into the journey, with hairs on the back of my neck at the potential that gets fulfilled thanks to the opportunities that are provided. And ultimately, that's all anybody ever wants, isn't it? An opportunity. And when I think back now to you and your development, being athletic, being sporty, and loving the Rhinos, I suppose when you first started playing, you wouldn't have had certainly many women role models because women's sport wasn't quite as prominent as it is now. Back then, did you look up to the men? And how good do you think it is that girls that are playing today, who might be 8, 9 years old, multifaceted, interested in rugby league, have got people like yourself to look up to?
Yeah, for me, I probably didn't have any like women role models growing up. Like I used to look up to Brent Webber, you were my favourite player.
Yes.
So I used to look up to like Brent Webb, used to come to all like the finals with like yourself, Kevin Sinfield, Rob Burrows. So they were my role models growing up. But I just think it's awesome now for the girls up and coming in rugby and in sport that they have got these female role models. Like after the game, there's girls at the side of the pitch who want our autograph pictures. And I just think for them now, they're just going to excel in sport because they know they can get to a high level, play for the teams that they're supporting. And I just think it's shown the progression within, especially women's rugby, but sport in general, that there's role models out there now.
It's brilliant. And how much attention do you pay to some of the other women's sport? The football has gone through the roof. I think women's football's overtaken men's rugby league, by a fair bit, to be fair. And then there's the netball World Cup as well. We've got a netball team, and it's really interesting listening to your story. And like I said, Bree Grayson, I think he used to come with her granddad as well. It's awesome, lots going on. But do you pay much attention to other women's sports that's getting prolific at the minute?
Yeah, so I'm watching the women's football before I came, and I just think the growth in football is massive. Yeah. Like they are smashing it, the women's football at the minute, and with the netball as well, for like England to get to the World Cup final. I think it's great, and I think as a woman in sport, we should be watching other women in sport as well, supporting them, empowering other women as well. I think that's big for the growth of women's sport in general, that we need to be watching other sports, supporting them, and just getting the name of women out there, really.
Yeah, I saw the try of Ollie May-Dodd, I think, playing in the NRL. Is it Canberra she's at?
Yeah, Canberra.
And she scored, I think, a first try, and I'm thinking about the development of the game over here and a point where the women can get paid enough money to not have to obviously go to work, maybe be full-time, a little bit like the NRLW over there. We will get there in time, and we're heading in the right direction, but you obviously still have to work as well. Tell us a little bit about what you do when you're away from rugby.
Yeah, so I'm a full-time careers advisor, so I help young people like 16 to 24 try find employment or like get into education. Yeah. So yeah, I love doing that. I love working with like young people. Brilliant. And trying to give them a chance, to find employment or education. There's quite a lot of barriers for young people at the minute, so I'm just glad that I'm involved in trying to hopefully help them change the path and get into a career, or if it is like finding a university degree or college course. So no, I love doing that.
Do you know what, we need to link up then, because part of my job now is exactly that, because I know, and I've seen the studies that says players men or women who augment, who have got a symbiotic relationship with the playing career and either further education or apprenticeships or some other development to play for longer and at a higher level. So it'd be brilliant if everybody, a little bit like myself back in the day, studying at Leeds Beckett from 2003 to 2007, certainly helped me in my development. And I think every player should at least aspire to try and develop themselves throughout the playing career. It'd help both sides of that proverbial sword. So maybe you can give me a bit of advice with your experience about how to do that. Lots of opportunities, lots of sponsors who we can work with as well. So if anybody out there's watching got any ideas, just throw it up. Let's connection over content every time. Now you're talking about young people. You've got some really important views as well. You know, my role, culture, diversity and inclusion, it's all about giving everybody of any background an opportunity to be the best version of themselves. You've been quite vocal about racial inequality in the past. Just tell us a little bit about that during that Black Lives Matter period.
Yeah, I think probably I were a bit naive to like the racial equality, probably in England. Right. I'd probably say I was naive to it, and I had to educate myself a little bit about like the barriers people are still facing, especially like with the Black Lives Matter movement and things like that. I think I do have a voice that I can use, and I'm willing to use that voice to try educate people and get the message out there. So for me it's big just to show people that there is like barriers and inequality still in England, and that we need to work on it and educate each other. So yeah, it's something I am big on, everyone having like equal opportunities to get to where they need to be, and people need to know there are barriers that people do face because of race and things like that. So no, it's a big thing, and I think we all need to educate ourselves, me included still as well.
Yeah, I was at a conference recently, the Black Health Initiative, and I heard a lot of stories that were really revealing and eye-opening to me, because I've lived in Leeds all my life, pretty much, bearing a few months in Scotland. And interestingly, on my walk in rugby league, 421 games, 22 years, I can only remember one incident of any sort of racial abuse. You know, rugby league's unbelievable in terms of its inclusivity. Yeah. I think we almost actually take it for granted, and I'm not just talking it up because I'm ingrained in rugby league. It's absolutely true, but there are other walks of life where there isn't that same inequality. Have you, is there any experiences you've had that have not been particularly pleasant, or things that you'd like to change if you had the power to do it?
I think within rugby, like you said, I've not experienced any like racism, especially myself on the field, but there has been some instances within rugby league where it's still happening. Yeah. And I think we probably all need to be educated on like the types of words we use and things what do offend people. Yep. So I think that's a big thing that we need to work on. But no, like you said, I probably was naive to it because I've grown up within like a white household and things like that. So I probably haven't experienced it as much, but it's not to say it's not happening to like other people out there, and we need to be aware of that.
We've got a lot of similarities. White household, West Leeds, standing late Leeds, all Leeds that way. The difference we have got though, your dual heritage, your dad's Jamaica, mine's St Kitts, certainly originally from his heritage. I've never been over at St Kitts. You're going to Jamaica pretty soon. Interestingly, in the World Cup, I thought one of the highlights for me was hosting the Jamaican Rugby League team. You know, lads like Ben Jones-Bishop, and a lot of those lads who played there were from West Yorkshire, the West Yorkshire Jamaican Committee. But it was outstanding, and culturally they were flying that flag. We saw the first tries, the first points. It was great, wasn't it? And that's another opportunity to invite a demographic of people that might not normally watch rugby league. Is that something you'd like to get involved with as well and fly that Jamaican flag? Yeah,
so I've been trying to get involved with the Jamaican League team. They're actually playing a tournament this September.
Brilliant.
Unfortunately, with the league here, I won't be able to fly out, but it's just great that we're seeing that progression. They're really keen on getting a women's team, potentially in the next World Cup. So that's something I really want to be a part of. I've represented Jamaica for the Sevens team, the union, so I want to play for league now. I want to get that up and going, because I think we'll have a really good squad. And like you said, the Jamaicans get out and back us, especially like the Caribbean community in Leeds. It's massive, so I know if we can get a team out, they'll come out and support us and create that great atmosphere.
Absolutely. As long as you bring some food as well.
Yeah.
Bring some food, please. Unbelievable food there. Right, Wembley. Let's talk about Wembley. Let's get really excited. I'm going down. I haven't told the boss yet, but I'm going on Thursday. I'm taking my family and we're going to go mad. I'm going to go to Cenotaph on Friday, go through all that ceremony, have a look at London, get really hyped up, and then hopefully do a bit of media as well. I'm really excited. I love it, Wembley, the heritage, and even more so that our Leeds Rhinos Women's team's going to be there and hopefully going to get the win. Lots of hard work to do though. Give us a bit of an insight into the preparation and what the week looks like in the lead up to Wembley.
Yeah, so we've got 2 training sessions this week, so we'll be in training, and then I think we're going down on Friday morning down to Wembley. So no, it's going to be a different experience travelling down like the day before, staying over as part of a team. But yeah, we just need to prep well this week, big training sessions, fix up on a few things. But yeah, I think it'll just be good to be around the girls this week, just have a really good atmosphere in training and lead into a big Saturday, which should be really good.
I love listening to old fellas back in 1970s and people like Roy Dickinson telling stories about going to Wembley. Back then, they'd have a few beers the day before and they stayed at Crystal Palace and they'd go to local fairground, hook a duck, and they'd come back and they'd all be in dorms and there'd be goldfish everywhere that they've won. Stories of jumping onto chandeliers, you know, like old cowboy films and pulling chandeliers down, absolute carnage. Just in terms of the women's, who are some of the characters within that women's team who might get a bit, not obviously professional, but who might get a bit excitable on the night before?
Yeah, I think Tash, she's always an excitable one. I don't think she'll be sleeping on Friday, so we've been speaking about who she's going to be sharing a room with because she just doesn't sleep. So yeah, I think she'll be a character on the Friday night. Who else? Yeah, I'd probably say her and Eloise as well. She's always a hyper one, so we might put them 2 in a room together and they can just be hyper with each other because, yeah, them 2 are a laugh. But no, they should be good. Everyone should be in positive spirits.
I can't wait for it. Opponents, St Helens, big opponents. Obviously, I thought they were outstanding in their semi-final against York. They beat us at Ellen Road last year in the final. Big disappointment. Obviously, we're going to try and get a little bit of revenge. Leeds and St Helens, always big rivalries, always big matchups. What can we expect from them? Because they're a very experienced team, aren't they? But they are getting older as well.
Yeah, no, they're a really good team, St Helens, and like you said, that win against York in the semi-finals were really good. But no, they've got some outstanding players, especially the forwards, Emily Rose, Jodie Cunningham. They'll just keep running and running. They hit hard, so we need to be prepared for that. But yeah, like us, I think they've got some young players, especially on the edges, and they're up and coming as well. So yeah, they'll be wanting to get out there and put on a show, but no, just need to be wary of the threats all over the pitch from St Helens, and they'll just keep going. They'll go for 80 minutes, they won't give up, so we've just got to be prepared that it's going to be a hard fight on Saturday. I think it's probably going to be the hardest game of the season, the year so far, and we've got to play the best we have all year to get the win, I think. Whoever turns up on the day, less errors, I think he'll get the win.
Shauna Hoyle been outstanding all season as well. All the best getting in front of her when she's carrying that ball. Chantal Crowell as well, and all the stage of there. Really fortunate to meet a lot of those women when we went to PNG back in 2018. It's going to be a big challenge, but we're up for it, we're ready. You've heard it right here from Sophie Robinson. It's going to be an epic weekend. I hope we can get down to Wembley. If not, watch it on the BBC. I'm really excited. Thank you very much for joining me on Box 2. All the best for your preparation this weekend. Great to have you. Hope you can get behind the girls and give them their support, and look forward to seeing you back on the 20th against the Warrington Wolves. We're going to have a lot of ex-players here. Myself and Barry McDermott rounding up the old guard. There's a fair bit of time between now and then, though. Support the women and have a wonderful week. All the very best. God bless.